All right, so just recently I became a part of the advisor board at the vocational school next to me for plumbing, and I wasn't really sure what I was getting into, what it was about. Then I went to the first dinner and I sat down with a bunch of gentlemen and ladies that are all local plumbers or even came out of that vocational school for plumbing itself. Don't worry, I got 9 minutes of video here to talk about. So we got those pits, and the last thing I want to do is fall in those pits. So you're going to see me tied off. Sometimes I didn't feel like moving the yo-yo around. So if I knew I wasn't really going to fall, I just left the yo-yo. I'd rather swing like a pendulum. Look at Nemo over here. That's what it's supposed to look like when you get your stock in. Local 1 representing. I do say let's go a lot in these videos. I noticed that while I edited all this film. But anyways, back to the advisory board. I wasn't really sure what my part's going to be in there. I'm not one to always put my 2 cents into everything. Oh yeah, so listen, this is Nemo's first time cutting copper. Listen, I tell him all the time, I want to teach you the right way, and then don't do as I do when you watch me do it. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to explain to you how it's done, and then you're going to do the rest. I know everybody would either A, get a number 30 tubing cutter, or B, they would just go right through it with a bandsaw. I don't know, 15 years in commercial, I never owned a number 30 tubing cutter. You get a half-round file and a bandsaw. It's hard to talk about the advisory board where I got so much good going on right now. Now I'm teaching Nemo how to set Unistrut feet. Once again, I'm going to do one, and I'm going to show him. I'm going to explain to him as I do it. That's why it's taken me so long to do these procedures. But then once I'm done with one, this kid's actually a unicorn. He's smart and he wants to work. So I just explain it to him once and he gets it and goes. This is a job that really intrigued him. Now, I thought about sweating this job, but then I thought again, last thing I want to do is set off any fire alarms, smoke detectors when I got ProPress at my fingertips. I did a salon last year and I soldered the entire thing just for Nemo, just for Nemo's sake. It was his first summer with me. I get it. I know about it. I know the fittings are cheaper, but the labor that's what you make up. Labor is more expensive than stock. Remember that. Then if you set a fire alarm off, forget about it. But anyways, I think I figured out what my role could be in that shop. And if anyone's listening to any vocational schools, I know you guys got the big TVs that you roll around and show people some stuff. And I heard some of my videos get shown in school, so I'll try to clean it up a little bit. But this one video particularly can be for the exploratory kids that come in. It's 9 minutes long. You just got to set it up. You can sit back, watch, and laugh. But the exploratory teacher told me he gets these kids for 3 days, and his first thing that he asks them is, what's your first thought on plumbing? And every kid tells them, let me hear it, loud and proud, plunges, toilets, overflowing shit. Excuse my language. Now, I'm not knocking them anymore. I love the drain cleaners. You guys are my brothers. But there's more to it than that, and this video is going to show it. That's a 3-inch globe valve. Now that I look at it and I'm done with the job, I probably should have just used ProPress flanges and IPS fittings. That way we could just slide this valve out if it ever goes bad because everything's pressed. But, I mean, same thing if everything was sweated. What I should have done was just get some brass nipples and flanges and put that sucker in between. So once they drain these pits, they got to clean the walls with a power washer. And then in order to fill it, the first tank during construction got a 3-inch non-potable cold water line to it, but the other tanks did not get their own. So they had to figure out how to fill the tanks after they cleaned them. They did it for a couple of years, and this is what they came up with. We're using the globe valve so they can close it slowly, and it doesn't make any water hammer. I saw some people telling me once we stick the arms in that you're not 6 inches or whatever. 6 inches above flood level rim of the tank. But just because that tank is at the floor level doesn't mean that it doesn't have an overflow 3 feet lower. We got Mo on the gun. This is it's a borrowed gun because, of course, mine went into the shop. And everybody's asking me, what's up with that lunchbox that heats up in the wall? How come you don't use it anymore? Is it no good? I said, no, it's good. I got it. I eat lunch at home most of the time. What do you want from me? Plus, in the summertime, I'm not really into a hot meal. Unless it's your sister. Listen, I know. I'll leave it out. The rest of it's for the kids. But I know they all like somebody's sister anyways. Mo's setting up the riser clamps. Some people are like, how come you didn't use cush clamps? And honestly, I just thought riser clamp because it's a riser. 3-inch, going to be filled with water. I just wanted, I don't know, I guess the other one's got 2 points of contact. Riser clamp, that's what I came up with. That's how it's done, and it passed inspection per the town. So I stopped by putting up the risers and building those, right? That's where I want to go to. And I also figured out what height I want to run across the ceiling back to the tie-in point. Now that I know those two items, I was able to cut these risers exact so I could just put 90s on the top, and we're teaching Nemo how to lay out on the floor. This stuff it's interesting to him. We're not just doing PVC eyeballs over here. We want to lay it out on the floor. You can get the exact cut pieces without even going up on a ladder, just by using a laser and some straight edges. So there it is. The 90s are marked out. And now I got Nemo going over to cut all the pieces of pipe. That's a U501. I'm going to be setting up the Unistrut in the bay above. That way I can drop hangers down and pick up the straight run from the tie-in point. It is a Makita drill. That was my very first tool bag, was all Makita, and I slowly switched over except for a 1/2-inch drive. That's why that's there. At some point, you will see me on the wrong rung of a ladder. But like I told Nemo before, you don't do as I do, do as I say. I do my best to follow the rules, but I also know that I can get by without following a few here and there. Just like hard hats and safety glasses. This is not a real construction site. The other people working here are not wearing that, so I am also not wearing that unless I have to. And I want to teach Nemo what this little harness is. You want to have the point of contact directly or within the area of your ladder. That way when you fall off, you dangle straight down. You will see in some points that it's off pretty far, and I just got lazy and I knew I wasn't going to fall. Some people are also asking why I didn't mark my fittings. I used a pencil on this one because we're not insulating it right away. So I figured, why look at big black marks when you could just have a pencil on there and know where it is before you go ahead and crimp it. I'm on the wrong rung of the ladder right here. It's a 6-foot ladder. I should have an 8. But if you're still watching in this exploratory, this is another avenue of plumbing. I started doing this for somebody else for 15 years. I started my own business working in the shitholes, flip houses, and I moved my way up to answering phones and sending emails to other contacts. And the social media is actually what helped this one come to me, to do it on my own. So now, instead of somebody else making the profit and paying me a little bit, I'm making all the profit and paying Nemo pretty damn well, if I do say so myself. So now we're at the tie-in point, and that's the 3-inch non-potable that we're going to be tying into. 3-inch T, there she is. We're going to roll her down to a 45, and there's the pit that I don't want to fall in. That's why I got a harness on the entire job. I'm working pretty much on the edge. I was using a 12-foot ladder at some points. And like I told Nemo, you're going to want to wear gloves, safety glasses, and a hard hat, high vis, and maybe even some overalls if you're interested, just to please the comment section. In this area now, I do have black Sharpie marks because that's all I had on me. And I wanted to make sure that because of the weight of the valve, the fittings didn't fall out of each other before I went and pressed it. Now, if you're moving on to another shop in a couple of days, just remember this video when you're making your choice on what you want to do later in life. I have yet to use a plunger or a drain machine professionally, so there's many avenues in plumbing. You can also be in the office if you'd like. You could be a CAD guy, you could be a estimator, you can be a project manager, and all that can be obtained with no college degree as well. If the company is big enough and you've worked in the field, it's easier to teach you all the office work than it is to teach an office guy the plumbing. We do have kneeling pads, but they're in the van. It's hard to remember everything while you're in the midst of battle. And then when you go and post a video online, there's just 500,000 people and everybody's got a different idea, and they like to let me know about it in the comment section. And sometimes I'm all right with that, and sometimes I'm not. I'm definitely leaving this one because we're 9 minutes in, and I don't want to do